passion. So, on tonight's episode, which is episode number 7, our first guest is a former professional mixed martial arts fighter who had served as an alternate for the very successful UFC Ultimate Fighter series. He holds a professional fight record of 10-6, and his Scotland versus Scotland grudge match trilogy against Bobby the Black Mamba McVitie has solidified itself in Scottish MMA fight law. Since his retirement, he has established a very successful gym and coaching base called New Life Fitness in his home city of Glasgow. He is very well known and most appreciated for his extensive community work with local groups of young men and women, helping them to find their purpose and aim in what can be a very challenging situation and environment. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's guest is Mr. David Galbraith. David, how are you doing? Good to see you.
I'm very well. I just need to turn my camera around. Actually, I've just switched it. Sorry. There we are.
That's. Oh, we're back.
There
There we
we
go.
are.
We're in. I wondered if we could start the podcast with them, because obviously what I like to do with the guests is just have a little pre-chat before we start. But if we could just start this podcast when we'd first seen each other, and you'd said that you'd stated that I look just as handsome as ever. So if we just lead with that would be great. I'm kidding.
Well, I thought that's what the main topic of discussion was, James.
Well,
Um,
I thought we could.
don't want to state the obvious there.
I'm kidding. Listen, it's good to see you. We said it's been a decade really since we spoke or even seen each other, even via Skype and via this format. So I was asking you a little bit about how you've been since I'd last saw you. When I'd last seen you, actually, you were still competitive, I believe. You were still competing in professional mixed martial arts. You'd established quite a name for yourself in the sport. You were coaching as well, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the last time I'd seen you properly, I'd come to put on a striking seminar in a gym that you were based at, and that's when I'd last seen you. So I gave you an introduction. So I thought it might be interesting just to start with, what's happened with you over the last decade. And then delve a little bit into your past history and what got you to where we'd met, and then obviously preceding that with where you've got from where I last saw you to now.
Well, from that time, I was really at the start of, I would say, my career as a gym owner. So I was starting to get into business. So that was quite early doors for me. And like anything, I was making a lot of mistakes, and then that led me to get a better unit, something that I had more control over, and then that materialised into me meeting my now wife that I met at the gym. So through New Life, I got a new wife.
Fantastic! Congratulations! Yeah,
Thank you.
fantastic.
And we became business partners. She was a stockbroker to trade. That was her background.
Wow.
Transitioned really well into the business side, but also the martial arts side of it. She and her environment, it was quite similar in a lot of ways. It was quite high paced, high risk, high reward, big losses as well. So it was very we could relate to a lot of things, and I think one of the things that we really connected with was through ethics.
Yeah, yeah.
And then from there, the business just really grew. It got stronger and stronger. We had my mind and Jill's mind in it. A really good team at the start. Some of we brought a few new people in. It didn't really work out too well. We made mistakes. They made mistakes, and it just wasn't the right fit. So there was a lot of early teething problems. To be honest with you, almost lost the business at the start. We got through that. We got over that hurdle, and then we ended up we had a challenge again. It was a challenge with the landlord, and we decided to make it a positive. And the landlord had basically decided to double our rent. Seen the business was doing well, has targets to meet as well, and he's like, right, okay, we're going to double this up. We said no, and we basically had to find a unit really quick. So we found a new unit. We almost quadrupled in size and the scale of
Wow.
it. The new unit we're in just now is massive compared to the old one, and it's got built over 2 floors. And when we met the landlord, we just hit it off with him. And actually, him and one of my sponsors was a friend just by chance. And my
Mm.
sponsor said to him, he says, Davey's a good guy. You want him in your unit. We met up with him. He went, I want you in the unit. I went, I want in your unit. And it really gave us a chance to focus on the community aspect of the business because we ended up in Maryhill, which has some very deprived pockets within it. So that really built our children's programme. That allowed our children's programme to grow. The children's and youth programme has been very successful. It's one of the strongest parts of the business. And then that led me to then specialise in working with kids, particularly those who are facing challenges with dyslexia, ADHD, spectrum disorders, I've worked with kids with other disabilities, some more serious than others, and just some kids are just having a really hard time of it. And I'm naturally very good with children, and I'm a photographer to background as well, so I'd worked a lot with family photography and stuff, so I'd experience working with kids in a family setting, so that became my focus, where I was able to get coaches who were maybe better than me in different areas to coach different disciplines and different areas of the business, and it gave me a chance to focus on the competitive fight team, the MMA fight team, and kids and young people. And both those projects just flourished along that New Life gym. There's different people in the business who really excel and flourish in different areas. So I'm like, man, you're better than me at doing that. Please, let's develop it. And then with the fight team, we segmented that as well. So it was just like, it was kind of like, we'd fight in loads of different disciplines, but I segmented the disciplines as such, and I put people in lead positions to manage the striking team, the grappling team. I like MMA, that's my thing. It was MMA for me, so I worked a lot with the MMA fight team. And, from there, with the things going well with kids, I then transitioned really well into working with schools. I built a new model, so I've done a lot of studying, and I created a new model and I put it out there. And one of my friends, who's a teacher at schools, I had a joke with her. I says, basically, I was one of those kids that got kicked out of class all the time, and I was getting in trouble. Now knowing I'm dyslexic, I know why. I was getting punished a lot for being dyslexic, and the behaviour that accompanied that. And she went, oh, by the way, she kind of jokingly says, I've got kids like that, and then that led to like really specialising in that area. She went, right, come in. Would you like to do this model with the kids? And then I was basically the kids who were their behaviour in class was either become disruptive or they're facing different challenges. I was then, brought in, and that programme just flourished. I was working in loads and loads of different schools with, lots of different children, and that was a real a real positive for me. So,
so the gym is called New Life, and it's based in Glasgow. Sorry, which part of Glasgow was it?
It's called Maryhill.
Maryhill. So it's New Life. It's the New Life gym. It's based in Maryhill, and it consists of programs for younger children. I imagine there's an open classes as well for adults to come in and train and learn the disciplines. And then there's a fight team as well. So how did you structure that from day one, or from in the sense of day one? From transitioning to this new facility, did you already have it in place that you would have children's classes, you'd have adult classes, you'd have a fight team, and then segregating those disciplines as well? And just a little bit more information about the gym itself. I imagine it has a matted area, perhaps it has a small octagon. Does it have an open gym, free weights and cardiovascular? So just to give the listeners some of the idea about how the gym's set up and structured.
So initially, when we first started, it was just ideas. Me being a fighter, it was let's get a group of fighters and have like a fight team as such. Realising, that wasn't the way to make a living, we then started looking at recreational trainers, which was factored into it. being passionate about working with kids, we factored that into it. So the structure of the business just kind of built organically.
Mm.
Looked at, it's like when you start martial arts, you know how to throw a punch, but you really don't know how to punch. You like really know how to punch. You could throw a kick, but you really don't know how to kick, and you start refining it and building on it, and that's just basically what happened. I was doing a lot of stuff wrong, and then we built it, trial and error. So we've got two floors. The physical setup of the business is downstairs. We have a fully matted area, which is more designed towards striking. Has like punch bags. All the walls are padded, so they're wipeable surfaces, and it means if anybody falls or bumps themselves, they're safe. And it's quite colourful. So it's quite colourful. It's quite, it's that quite colourful, vibrant environment. Upstairs we have the Fight Academy. So it's like a Japanese dojo effect.
Mm.
The wall added in there, and that's like a proper like fight area. So that's like a lot is grappling based MMA stuff. The walls are padded higher, and we do closed fight team sessions there where the public aren't allowed in because we're working on stuff that's specific towards um, competition, performance based stuff, including mindset work, uh, technical work, and strategy as well. So we need to keep our cards close to our chest in terms of our actual strategy, so that stays very um, contained within that areas, within those times. And then the fighters will go out and within other classes and get their bits from the other coaches. We have a personal training side of the model. We do have a small strength and conditioning area, but it's just enough that the fighters can use it or the personal trainers can use it. It's not like a commercial gym.
Mm.
And we're actually still growing into the unit as well. We aren't utilising all the spaces. This is my office. I'm in the gym just now. And we have a sports therapy side of the business as well. So we have a sports therapy room where a sports therapist works with a fight team, or might use that if we've got a sports psychologist in, or anyone who specialises in different areas that isn't the kind of physical side in terms of technical side. And we've still got other areas of business that we're growing into. So we're still building into growing into this unit.
So just in case local. Oh, there. Brilliant. Can we just turn my headphones down? Are we back? Hang on. Sorry, David, we just lost the feed here.
That's okay. Can you not hear me?
Okay, where's that playing from? There, okay, I think we're back. Brilliant. No? Yep. That's it. Yeah, I've got you. That's perfect. That's. Are we good? Skype's playing from now, though. Someone's ringing us on Skype. Yeah, I think everything's good. I'll try and get that to stop playing now. Obviously, I've got this ringing here. Is it worth us hanging up and phoning? Oh, that's it. No, it's back. From... hang on. I think it's playing through the settings. Now it's worse. Yeah, let me hang up on David. Just let the people listening know that we're back. Where's it playing from?
have no idea where that's playing from, James. um,
Still on, yeah.
yeah.
Come,
It's not actually playing from anywhere though.
should we stop the whole thing and
Well, I mean, you can ask the audience for some questions for you to answer while I. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Right. Let's bring David back.
We're off. Should we? Do we still have David on the?
I'll bring him back.
Right. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone.
These things happen.
I'm getting a new laptop on Sunday, so because this is pretty close to dying.
Are we still streaming on?
Yeah, we're still.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're still streaming. I apologize for the technical hitch there. We're just calling David back. These things happen. These things happen.
Well, do you want to do the Lux Folio ad read while I bring him back?
Yeah. Luxfolio. First of all, thank you to all of our sponsors tonight. Again, we apologize for the technical hitch, but we'll be back with the regular podcast very soon. So our first sponsor tonight is Luxfolio. Luxfolio Real Estate looks at real estate from a more creative perspective, offering a modernized service and approach to all of your real estate needs. Our services include buying, selling, renting, and leasing. We provide a world-class service that knows no limits and can service your property anywhere in Dubai. At Luxfolio Real Estate, you don't simply represent another buyer in the market. You are a priority and part of a highly successful team. Contact Luxfolio on Luxfolio, Luxfolio, at Facebook page or on their website and email info@luxfoliorealestate.ae. That is info@luxfoliorealestate.ae. Hello, David. Can you hear me okay? I apologize. We had a little technical hitch there. So I apologize for that. We'll do a quick refresh for the listeners. Just on a funny note, we these podcasts. This is our episode number 7, I believe, and the last episode we did, obviously episode number 6. My youngest daughter, I've got 3 children. I don't think you've met any of them. I've got 3 children. My oldest, Kiana Jade, my son, middle child, Rhodes James, and my youngest, Emily Jean. And we were in the car together, and she was listening to the podcast. And she says, well, I don't want to be rude, but you sound very beige. So I sounded very flat and kind of average and boring. So I was like, this podcast, I'm going to liven things up. So hopefully, so far, it has been a bit more livened up. And shout out to Emily Jean, who's hopefully listening tonight. So tonight we have David Galbraith, former professional mixed martial arts fighter and business entrepreneur. This week is a focus on entrepreneurship. We tend to do one podcast based around combat and martial arts and fighters, and the second podcast is based around entrepreneurs. Tonight we're lucky enough to have an entrepreneur and a former fighter, so it's a 2-for-1 deal. So we're talking a little bit about the New Life Gym, which is your gym, your brand, that's based in Glasgow, Maryhill, and we're talking about the structure of it now. I'd like to focus on. Right. David, I apologize. We have to restart the stream. So what will that involve? Should we just...